What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports, back again with another one. Young welterweight contender Conor Benn out of the UK will be stepping back into the ring October 8th at the O2 Arena in the UK. And the name that's been prominently mentioned, Chris Eubanks Jr., will not be his opponent. I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry to rain on the UK boxing fans' parade, but it will not be Chris Eubanks Jr. You have a young, undefeated welterweight in Conor Benn. Why in the hell will Matchroom Boxing, knowing their history of what happened with Kell Brook when he jumped up 2-weight class and took on Triple G, we all seen how that went, and they're going to let history repeat itself. You talking about history repeating itself with Nigel Benn versus Chris Eubanks Sr.? Let's talk about history repeating itself with Kell Brook versus Triple G. We all saw what happened with that. Kell Brook was never the same. Got a broken orbital bone. Then he had to lose the weight to take on Errol Spence Jr. And then he had his other orbital bone broken on the other eye. Pure disaster for Matchroom Boxing. They're not going to try that or go down that road again. He has a bright future. The guy is ranked in all sanctioning bodies, in the top 5 of all sanctioning bodies. He's ranked top 5 in the WBO, in the WBC, in the IBF, and the WBA. Now, he's going to have to make a decision here in the near future, which route he's going to go to, which route he's going to travel down. Is it going to be the WBC route, WBA route, IBF route, or the WBO route? Because whichever route he goes, he's probably going to get dropped from the multiple sanctioning bodies once he decides, okay, I want to go after the WBC title. Well, you're going to get dropped out of the IBF if that's the case. That's for example. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires, but it's not going to be Chris Eubanks Jr. That's not going to be the fight. Matchroom Boxing is not looking to match one of their young, fresh faces, one of their promising young stars who have a very bright future, and put them in the ring with a hard hitter. And Chris Eubanks Jr., a very athletic guy, a guy that's get wild at times, but a guy that knows how to fight. Underrated as far as a technical boxer. He can box. He can box. A lot of people say, hey man, he's a wild fight, throwing all kind of wild shots. Yeah, he gets wild at times, but when you look at him, he can actually box. So you're looking at a good big man taking on a good little man, and we all know how that's gonna play out. Look over the history of boxing. A good big man beats a good little man 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. That's just how it goes in the sport of boxing. Paula Malignaggi said this. It's weight classes for a reason. So why would you put a young guy at the age of 25, has a very bright future in the welterweight division? He is the biggest draw in the UK, only behind Anthony Joshua. And you probably could put Dillian White and Derek Chisora. Those 3 guys, and they're heavyweight. So obviously heavyweight is what controls the sport of boxing. As goes the heavyweight division, as goes the sport of boxing. Them 3 guys, they're probably the only guys that are bigger draws in the UK than Conor Benn. And this is actually Conor Benn's, this fight coming up on the 8th. This is probably going to be his 2nd or 3rd time actually being the main event of a fight put on by Matchroom Boxing. So that just let you know how he has, how his stardom has rose here recently. His rose is very, very high here recently. His star has shined brighter here recently as he's become a main event attraction in the UK. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But Josesito Lopez trainer is Robert Garcia. Robert Garcia is also training Anthony Joshua, former unified heavyweight champion. Now, Robert Garcia did not get that position of being the new head trainer of Anthony Joshua without giving something back in return to Eddie Hearn. And that return is Josesito Lopez, who is also trained by Robert Garcia. You see where I'm going with this? When Robert Garcia was announced as AJ's new trainer, people was like, man, what? That don't, huh? You know, because he met with Ronnie Shields. He met with a whole lot of U.S. trainers, but he decided to go with Robert Garcia. Didn't go with none of the PBC affiliated trainers. Ronnie Shields, I knew that wasn't going to happen. Ronnie Shields is, you know, he's Jamal Charlo's, not my bad, he's Jamal Charlo's trainer. and a lot of his stable is PBC fighters. So I knew it was gonna be him. It wasn't gonna be him. I think he actually went down to Dallas and met with Derek James, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't gonna be Derek, another PBC affiliated trainer. But Robert Garcia is not affiliated with the PBC outside of Josesito Lopez, and he used to, as far as he used to train Michael Garcia. He's the older brother of Michael Garcia, and Michael Garcia has worked with the PBC in the past. But outside of that, man, he's not really known to be affiliated with the PBC. He's more known to be affiliated with Top Rank Boxing, Robert Garcia. So when that signing happened and when that news broke that he was going to be the new trainer after Joshua, that kind of came out of left field. A lot of people didn't think that was going to be the guy that AJ ultimately chose, and it wasn't what AJ chose. It's what Eddie Hearn chose. Eddie Hearn chose that for a reason, and we're seeing it right now. I'm letting you guys know that one of the reasons why Robert Garcia got that position as the head trainer was because he promised Eddie Hearn that he would deliver him Josesito Lopez, and that's the fight that's going to take place October 8th at the O2 Arena in the UK. Now, Josesito Lopez is a guy that's been in there with a lot of big names over his career at 140 and 147. He's fought Jesse Vargas, lost a split decision fight, a fight that a lot of people thought he won. He beat Victor Ortiz. That was his best win of his career. He also fought Marcus Maidana, very exciting fight. Lost that fight. He fought Andre Berto. I thought he was winning that fight before he got stopped in that fight. He was very upset that the fight got stopped. He thought the fight got stopped prematurely. Now, his last fight, he fought Cody Crowley, up-and-coming young welterweight that a lot of people are sleeping on, actually. When they talk about the young guns in the welterweight division, they bring up Jerome Boots Ennis, rightfully so. They bring up Virgil Ortiz, rightfully so. And they bring up Conor Benn, rightfully so, but they need to put Cody Crowley in that equation, because I don't put Conor Benn up there actually with Ennis and Virgil Ortiz. I think he's probably a step behind him, but I think Conor Benn and Crowley are neck and neck. I think they're probably a notch below those two guys. But all four of those guys are young, rising welterweights contenders, and they'll be looking to mix it up, hopefully, here in the future. We will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But it's going to be a classic example of Eddie Hearn saying one thing, but you got to actually read between the tea leaves. He did an interview here recently saying that they would love to make the Eubanks Jr. fight with negotiations with the Eubanks Jr. fight continues, and Conor Benn thinks he can win. The secondary hydration clause is really not a factor, but there's some other factors that's in play, and everything must be right for this fight to happen. He knows it's a big, massive fight in the UK, but at the same time, Conor Benn is a young fighter with a bright future, and we don't want to jeopardize that future for nobody. That's basically what he said, man. He's basically saying on one hand that he's trying to make the fight, but on the other hand, we got a young fighter here that we're not looking to sideline his future, and his future is at 147. That's basically what Eddie Hearn said, man. So he's not going to make this fight happen, man. Like I said, he understands what happened in the past, and he's not trying to go down that road again. Kell Brook was a disaster, making him move up two-weight classes because you was trying to save a show. Triple G was supposed to fight Chris Eubanks Jr. See how this all circled back around? Chris Eubanks Jr. was supposed to fight Triple G. He pulled out of the fight at the last minute because his daddy was asking for the sun, the moon, and the stars, and Eddie Hearn wasn't trying to do that at all. So he ended up pulling out of that fight, and then they had to try to save the show, and they asked Kell Brook, who was in the same position Conor Benn is in right now, but he was actually in a better position. He actually was a world champion, and he asked him to move up two-weight classes to take on Triple G, and he never was the same. And Matchroom Boxing is not looking to go down that road and recreate history in a bad way once again. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts about Conor Benn taking on Josesito Lopez. This would probably be the second or third best opponent, or maybe the first best opponent on Conor Benn's resume. Conor Benn is 21-0. Josesito Lopez is 38-9. He's got a deceiving record. He has a lot of disputed losses. Jesse Vargas, Conor. He's lost a lot of close decisions that he probably could easily won, but he's a guy that's been in there with the best of the best at 140 and 147. Been in there with Keith Thurman, hurt him late in that fight, lost a majority decision to one time. So he's been in there with some good fighters. Last fight was against Cody Crowley, undefeated young welterweight contender. He did not get stopped in that fight, but he got beat soundly, lost that fight via unanimous decision. So it'll be a good test. It'll definitely be a better test than Van Herden, and definitely a better test than Samuel Vargas. Now, Adrian Granados, that's probably opponent that you can kind of put right there side by side with Josesito Lopez. So he's probably on par with Adrian Granados. But unlike Adrian Granados, Josesito Lopez will come to fight. He will not flip the script and come out there moving around and being a dancer, doing something he ain't never done in any of his previous fights. I think he's going to come out there looking to walk down Conor Benn. And that's a recipe for disaster in my eyes, because that set Conor Benn up to get off his counter shots, and he's a devastating combination puncher, and he's a guy that has explosive power. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Great test. It's just not the test that the UK fans were hoping for, but in all actuality, this is the best thing for Conor Benn's future, fighting a guy by the name of Josesito Lopez instead of Chris Eubanks Jr., a full-blown middleweight who has campaigned as high as super middleweight. Let me know your thoughts. Follow me on Instagram, 9707Gerard. Follow me on Facebook, gerard.briscoe.3551. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I'll holla.